you had a couple of years ago, jumping in stands, high-fiving guys or fans. Now just a full circle, that celebration to be able to win the division, now go to the playoffs. What do you remember most about that journey, the journey from now to then?
That it wasn't easy, and it was daily hard work, and a lot of things that are difficult, uncomfortable, but it's all part of the process. And I've made this comment before. We didn't skip any steps. We didn't make any drastic free agency decisions. We didn't do anything crazy in the draft. We just really leaned on the experience of Duke Tobin and others in the building that have been in those positions, combined with the experience that we have as a coaching staff. And I think it's put us in a really good position here 3 years later.
As you get ready to embark on your first playoff opportunity, what do you like most about this football team at this stage, Coach?
The character, just the resiliency, the response to adversity, and the character in the locker room. It's, again, you like walking through that room every day, and no matter which player you're going to see, they're all in it for the right reasons. They're all in it to help each other, to help this team play well. There's no egos in the locker room, and I think it's rare, and it's a fun group to be around, and it makes it easy to come to work every day.
Zach, any updates on, I believe, Tupel and Ricardo Allen, how they're feeling today?
Yeah, Josh will be week to week with an MCL, and Rico's going through the concussion protocol.
Zach, how much better has the Raiders pass rush with Yannick and Max gotten since the last time you faced them?
The same. Really good then, really good now. We knew that going into the time we put them last time. That I've got a lot of respect for those two guys and the guys in the interior as well. And again, it's all packaged together. They do a really good job in coverage. Their backers understand. They've been in the scheme for a while, Perriman especially, and then those guys in coverage as well. So it all blends together. They do a good job taking away the easy stuff, making it hard on you, and allowing those guys up front to get their one-on-ones and go attack the quarterback. And it's as good a group as you can play against. Those two edge guys really bring it. They're really stout inside and have some good pass rush tackles as well.
Zach, what was it like watching the game last night in Vegas and knowing what was at stake? And I'm just curious if you had emotions going back and forth, thinking, oh, you're going to play the Patriots, then you're going to play the Raiders, who you wind up playing. What was that like for you?
Probably like all of you. You just watch the game and curious to see if it's going to end in a tie or not. I think that's what's going through everybody's heads. And, so in that moment, I'm like everybody else. It is kind of a back and forth on who you potentially be playing. I kept telling myself, just go to bed and wake up in the morning and figure it out from there. But, of course, I couldn't do that. I had to sit there and watch the whole game like an idiot. And so here we are. We're playing the Raiders, and we'll get ready for them.
What's Quentin Spain's prognosis, Zach?
We'll start working him back into practice. So I'm optimistic about getting him back into practice tomorrow. Same really with Cam Sample and Jalen Davis. I think they're trending in that direction as well. They've been through injuries these last 2 weeks, and the initial thought is to see how well they can do tomorrow.
Zach, is there any – I know you don't get to choose, but is there any benefit of being the first game on Saturday with the emotions being high and just wanting to play, or do you view it as it's such a quick turnaround it might not be a benefit, or does it not even become a factor for you guys?
Well, it's the same for both teams, so I don't see it as a negative or positive necessarily. We feel good about where we're at team health-wise. Here we are in the middle of January. I think we're as happy as we could be in that regard. And the Raiders, they played yesterday. We played yesterday. We're both going to play on Saturday. So it is what it is.
Zach, I asked Lou what the benefit of experience was in the postseason. And essentially he said the ability of guys not to press, not to try too hard. What is it about this group of players that you have makes you feel pretty comfortable that your guys will be able to do that?
Because a lot of them have playoff experience, whether it's in the pros or in college. That's very specific to the culture and kind of how we want to build this team. There's not to say that you're not going to take great players that played for other college teams that weren't in the playoffs, but we've got a core group of guys that have been there and been in these types of moments before. And that I think carries over to a lot of the guys who haven't been in those situations. And so again, this is what we've trained for all year. These are the moments you're ready for. You don't change your preparation this week. You don't talk differently than we have in weeks past, and our guys will be ready for the moment.
Zach, what kind of impact did that win over the Raiders have? You know, you had the 2 losses going to the bye, coming out of the bye, going on the road, and kind of the way you won that game. What impact did that have, you think?
It kickstarted the momentum for the second half of the season. There's no question about that. It was on the road. I was really happy because you had the 2 losses. You went into the bye week. It's not the best way to go into the bye. And I felt like this team was as loose during that week of preparation for Vegas on the road. You're stressed as a coach on how you're going to handle the travel over there to the West Coast time zone and being in Vegas. And I felt really good walking on the field in pregame about how our guys had responded off the bye, how they were handling 2 consecutive losses, a game on the road against a team that we knew was really good. And, man, they handled it really well and finished the game the right way and again, gave us good momentum going into the second half of the season.
Coach, your players, your coaches have all talked about the level of intensity, enthusiasm at practices all season long. Is that coach-driven? Is it player-driven? Is it both?
It's both. We've had a lot of conversations dating back to training camp on what a good practice looks like, what a bad practice looks like, and what we need from all of our players. And I think our team leaders have done a really good job of driving that, educating some of the young guys that sometimes need it, and been really happy with the response there. It's a battle on my end, to balance how much are we walking through, how much full speed are we doing. These guys really haven't, hey, coach, we need to take Wednesdays off and just do walkthroughs and jog throughs. They haven't been that at all. When we've told them we're going full speed, they've gone full speed and given us great effort. And I think they understand why. I know they understand why. And it's put us in a really good position here, and the guys have handled it the right way.
Zach, when you were adding players from winning programs and playoff teams throughout the draft and free agency the last couple of years, why were you so confident that those experiences were going to translate to y'all as y'all were kind of finishing the rebuild here? Because
they know what it takes. They know what it takes to keep that standard up in December and January, and that's when you need to be at your best. And so, again, we just got a lot of guys that have come from winning cultures that understand, and it rubs off on anybody. And then there's plenty of guys here that haven't necessarily been in playoff games, but again, that's not to discount what they've done for us. They're ready for this, and they're here for a reason, because you see that in them, and you see their preparation, and they're just waiting for their opportunity, and their opportunity is now. And I fully believe that our guys in the locker room are going to take advantage of it.
Speaking of experience, Zach, what did you learn during the Rams run to the Super Bowl in 2019, and how can that benefit you now during this run?
Truthfully, it's what I've been saying, is that it's about the season leading up to the playoffs, and you don't change your mindset all of a sudden. Okay, now we're in the playoffs. Let's change how we practice. Let's talk differently than we've talked all season. I mean, it's why you spend 3 years talking and responding the way that we have to get in these moments, and you're ready for it. And all of a sudden, all the language doesn't change. It's the same as it was in week 12 or week 17 or whatever it was. It's the same week, same type of preparation. Don't change what you've been doing to get us there. It'll serve you well.
You've spoken highly about the Raiders win for a while. Like, what was the impact of the receivers run blocking in particular in that game? And what did that show you about what you had on the team?
It wasn't the first time we'd seen that. Our receivers have really been pretty consistent in the run game all year. It was just that game. That was a bloody game, all the way through the beginning of the fourth quarter. We had a great response overall from our team. I think we were up 16-10, and they went down and maybe kicked a field goal. I think it was 16-13, and then we went down and scored a touchdown, I think, with a great response there. They were starting to regain the momentum. So we needed all 11 guys on offense, run and pass. And in that game, we needed a little bit more at that moment in the run game. Our receivers stepped up, and Joe had some really tough runs. And so, again, that was a really a full team effort in that win, where everybody stepped up when we needed them in the second half, and obviously got us that 31-13 win or whatever it was.
Zach, following up on playoff experience and Joe Burrow in particular, does his performance in the Final Four, essentially in college football a couple of years ago, kind of throw out the whole quarterback in his first playoff game angle, just considering how well he played in those big games?
I think so. He's been in this similar moment, relatively versus the same talent, for what he was with, and that's what we're counting on.
Coach, down the stretch, the team played well, but the fans also showed up and supported you well. And talk about just this game and what you would expect from them and how much it matters.
Yeah, we need the jungle to be the jungle. We need this to be an atmosphere that people do not like to come and play in, and that's what we've gotten recently from our fans. We need this one to be the best one yet. You watch, we struggled in LA, with the cadence. Vegas with the cadence. You saw the Chargers last night. They did a good job, but it's these guys, they tee off on the silent count, and it's a problem when you play there. And we need them to have that problem when they come here. We need to have them the communication issues so that it helps Trey and Sam and all of our D tackles. And we need that advantage, and I'm fully planning on our fans giving us that.
Thank you.
Zach,
You were able to.
Go ahead, Mike. I see you trying to get in.
Yeah, I was curious, how important is it for you on the sideline to try and coach this game just like another game, or is it different in terms of being patient, especially in being patient with the run game against a team like Vegas?
Because of the playoffs or because of Vegas, you're saying?
Because of the playoffs. I just stick to the playoffs, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's no different. It's the approach that we take any game. We always define our game plan early in the week of how we think this game's going to be played, and we play divisional teams twice all the time, so this is no different really than that. And oftentimes you alter the plan, you keep some things the same. You just have to go into where you're at during the season, where the team you're playing at is at in their season, and what's the best way to formulate the game plan in all three phases. And so that's what we're in the process of going through right now. Again, we're not going to change our mentality just because it's a playoff game as opposed to a game earlier in the season. And, I feel confident what our plan will be.
Coach, you were able to rest your starters, a lot of them, last week. Other guys played, and did they prove to you that if their roles needed to be expanded, you could count on them for that?
I think so. And you can just see the confidence and a lot of the guys grow, where maybe they play more in spot roles and they only get a couple snaps, and so they don't get the momentum that a full game gives you. And so you saw some guys go in there and get a lot more snaps for the first time, and you could see their confidence really evolve over the course of the game, and things slowed down for them. And again, I think that's really going to help us moving forward.
Zach, they play in a indoor facility. They play in a dome. You guys are outdoors. There's a chance there could be weather on Saturday. Is that a potential advantage for y'all, the fact that if it does snow, you guys have kind of – and you don't have an indoor facility, that you kind of are used to playing in that kind of weather and atmosphere?
It's not a disadvantage.
Zach, going back to Lap's earlier question about practices, what does a bad practice look like? How do you fix it? And ballpark, how many of those do you think you had this year?
Guys on the ground, guys not understanding how to protect their teammates. Some guys going half speed, some guys going full speed. It comes up a lot in training camp for certain. That's where you got to iron a lot of the stuff out because you're in full pads and you're hitting. But even at this point in the year, being able to get full speed working to where you feel good about the reps you're getting, but also being able to protect your teammates at the same time. So again, we're in helmets right now. And so getting a good pass rush, but staying away from the quarterback and keeping the linemen off, and linemen not finishing D linemen, and balls down the field of knowing really who's at the advantage to go get the ball and not jumping up and getting collisions. So again, we've oftentimes covered, again, more so early in the season, clips of good and bad ways to practice, things we got to learn from. And our guys have done a great job responding and then policing that themselves as well, which is critical, for a team like us, for the veterans to really educate some of those guys that are maybe new to the pros and practicing and not in pads and how to protect each other.
Zach, coaches have all different types of communication. Some are yellers, some aren't yellers. How would you describe the way you communicate with your players, and what was important to you when you found out you were going to be a head coach, that you said, this is how I'm going to do things in terms of communication with my players, knowing you were a player at one point?
You have to be true to yourself. I'm not a yeller. I like to think that my demeanor overall really doesn't change. And again, I'm sure earlier in my career when I was a graduate assistant, I tried to coach certain ways or do things that were maybe out of my personality, and players can see right through that. And so again, as as I've gained years as a coach and experience, I've tried to learn from that and just be true to myself. And again, I think that the players respect that. If they see you being genuine and you are who you are. I've seen coaches come in all shapes and sizes, all different personalities, and players respond to all different types as long as they're being genuine and honest and helping the player get better and being honest with their coaching assessments of the player. And so that's where I'm at. I don't yell. If I do yell, something's wrong, and I think people know that. But again, that's just how I've chosen to approach things, and right or wrong, that's how I go about it.
Well, you go back and look at your notebook from the Super Bowl run to try to remind yourself or pick up anything that was successful for the Rams in making it that far? You got to have your players step up in those types of games, because these games are all against great teams. They're all going to be tight moments, and you need your players to have confidence in what they're doing schematically and individually. And your players got to step up and make some plays, and you got to put them in the right spots. And so I can't say, Dan, that there's something specifically that stands out. But again, I feel really confident about the plan that we'll have for our players this week and what the response to it will be.
2 minutes.
Because today is what day it is for coaches, some coaches around the league, I'm wondering, what was the biggest thing that helped you keep the faith when the first 2 years were going badly?
Well, just believing in the vision we've laid out with ownership and with Duke, and sticking to that plan, and knowing that we've done our best every single day. There's a plan in place. There's going to be some bumps in the road. It's never going to be perfect. But getting everyone to believe and seeing the gradual progress that we were making. I'm talking about everybody in the organization, the players, the coaches, so that everyone stays on board. And again, just being genuine, not changing our approach because we struggled our first year and we struggled a little bit our second year as well. And all of a sudden changing your personality and changing your approach with the players, and they would see right through that. And so I like to think that that's helped us with that consistency. The players that have been here have hopefully seen that and helped them get to where they're at. It's the only way I know how to do it. It's the only way I believe in doing it. And fortunately, we're where we're at in our third year with a lot of hay still to be made. We still feel like we've got a long ways to go and a lot of potential here, and we haven't even reached it yet.
Zach, the trenches going into this season were such a hot topic that all of us on this call discussed. How big of an additions were Frank Pollock and Marion Hobby? I know you can't reflect completely on it, but how much have they helped in this turnaround?
Those two men have been great. They fit in out really well with the staff. They come to work every single day with the right attitude, trying to get the most out of their players. They're very honest with their players. They give them great coaching, and they love them up when they need to be loved up. And so, again, just those two guys, couldn't be happier with how they've helped us, how they've coached up their players. I think all their players get better over the course of the season. I like to think that those players would say that. A lot of them have said that to me, and so, again, just really proud that they're a part of our coaching staff and happy that they chose to come here.
One more question.
With what's gone on this Black Monday, I guess how thankful are you that you've got the relationship and the communication, lines of communication that you've got with the Brown family, Bengals ownership, Duke Tobin? How much does that mean to you?
Very grateful, very grateful, because it's nonstop communication. We're all aligned and on the same page. Very honest with each other, and it just feels right. Wouldn't want to have it any other way. Very proud to be part of this organization. Very thankful for the patience they've given us as a coaching staff to get it right.
All right, Coach. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Zach.
Thanks, Zach.